Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth and regular episode of Behind Procurement, our podcast about procurement trends, cases, successful, not successful sometimes, and articles and what's new in the industry. Today, we are going to have a very international, very global view. Our guest is in Europe, in Italy. And the topic of today's conversation is procurement challenges from tools to operational control. So what is my personal goal for today's episode is to show that procurement has global trends, global challenges, and global solution. And doesn't matter, I'll be speaking about North America, Europe, Asia, or any other country. My name is Natalie Eksi. I'm Chief Executive Officer at APSentra. We provide consulting and digital solution for procurement optimization. And let's start. Let me introduce our speaker today. Today we have a very interesting conversation with Barbara Mariotti. Barbara is supply chain and procurement expert with more than 25 years of experience. Barbara, I believe you have to turn on your camera. We want to see a smile. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Very nice to meet you once again. Thank you
Nice
for
to meet you.
inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. I'm very happy to see you here. And let me tell you a little bit about your professional background, okay? So Barbara is supply chain and procurement expert with more than 25 years of experience in the fashion and luxury industry and many other actually sectors. She is a fashion and luxury strategic consultant, expert in marketing strategy, licensing, merchandising, product, business, and distribution strategies. And she is co-founder and managing partner at NoOne Consulting, Italy, and she is based in Milan, correct?
Yes, correct. Thank you so much for introducing me. It's a pleasure to stay with you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I already introduced our topic for today. I already introduced to our audience that we are discussing procurement challenges. And for me, it's important to show that procurement doesn't matter. Are we speaking about Americas? Are we speaking about Europe, Asia? We have same challenges, and let's try to find solutions together. And before moving forward, I would like to start our conversation with some numbers. So for me, procurement is always about numbers. And a couple of days ago, actually 1 week ago, we had poll on my LinkedIn profile. And the question to audience, to supply chain and procurement expert, what next? What holds procurement back most in your organization? And numbers are actually very interesting. Uh, I was taking part in this poll as well, and we will discuss actually what is my vision, and we will also discuss how those number correlate with major chief procurement officer survey done by Deloitte. So today we're going to have a very interesting conversation. So let me speak about numbers. Salad teams got 47% votes. Full system integration, 32%. Competing priorities, 16%. And talent and skills, only 5%. It's interesting. Me personally, I voted for competing priorities. I believe that if different teams have competing KPIs, this is something that's just tearing apart the company. It's very difficult to align the team. But both in Deloitte survey, which we will discuss later, and in my survey, silent teams have 47, almost half votes. So Barbara, how would you comment on this one?
Yes, of course. So this survey, in my opinion, is really very interesting and is quite international. Even if I'm based in Italy, I think that the challenges and the results of this survey can be really very aligned with the situation also in Italy. Basically, technology alone, I think it's not enough. The survey identifies the main barriers to procurement performance, as we can see in the different disadvantages. Especially in Italy, the problem of working by silos is a point, is a big issue because there's a cultural background. But even if we are able to understand that we need for a change, sometimes it's difficult. Even if you have all the technological tools available, even if you have the AI is an enabler, but it's not a replacement of something else. I think that these findings demonstrate that organizational alignment and collaboration remain more critical than technology itself. This is what I personally think. Overall, if we read with care this survey and this article, these findings, we can see that we can have as a result that procurement is becoming a real key strategic advisor to the C-suite organization that successfully are able to combine digital transformation, AI, data governance, and talent development are the ones that are really capable to improve resilience, to reduce costs, to accelerate innovation, and to generate, in the end, sustainable business value. So I think that the point is in the organization approach. It is governance wise. That's my personal opinion about this. And in Italy, especially, the idea of working by silos. That's something that you have to overcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Interesting. Interesting. Let's compare. So keep in mind 47%, right, in this survey which we did by ourselves this week. And let's move to Deloitte article. I always encourage professional development, and this is why we are reading a lot of articles, and we do it with our guests every episode. And today's article is Procurement at the Tipping Point. Deloitte's 2025 Chief Procurement Officer Survey reveals the pressure and promise of technology disruptions. So this is a survey which was done by Deloitte. They were communicating with dozens, maybe hundreds, sorry, I don't remember that, of chief procurement officers. This survey was done in New York, and it was published 19th of August 2025, so less than a year ago, and I believe that it is very, very, very valid till this time. Let's see what was actually what are key takeaways. And I highly encourage you to read this article by yourself. But today we are going to discuss two things which are speaking to me the most. First of all, number one, surveyed chief procurement officers are accelerating investment in digital transformation and artificial intelligence. Barbara, why do you think this is happening?
No, I think it's very, very important because this is the only way to change something that doesn't work anymore in companies, especially in Italy, but I think also in Europe and all over the world. Artificial intelligence is impacting a lot on our processes and on our tools. So it is necessary to integrate it. But as I told you before, this is my personal opinion, this is an enabler. So digital transformation is not only implementing tools, but is also changing the processes, changing the way we are approaching to the organization. For example, procurement can become a real strategic business orchestrator in a way, but we cannot avoid to think about finance, supply chain, and other departments because we have to connect every department, and we need to have data visibility in real time that can help us, allow us to take the right decision at the right time with the right effectiveness. That is the point. So we have to integrate artificial intelligence. We have to know how to use it, but we don't have to forget the processes because digital transformation is a process. So we need to invest on it.
I totally agree with you. Even more, I would like to mention that in APSentra, we believe in digital twins. So whenever we help companies to be more efficient, whenever we help them optimize their processes, we are creating digital twin of their procurement process and organizational structure. In such case, yes, it makes sense. It makes sense, and digitalization is really efficient. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas here. And there is one more thing, less uh, digital, I would say more conceptual. So procurement influence is growing, with chief procurement officers playing a critical role in risk management and strategic decision making. Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think chief procurement officers right now more and more important, more strategic than just back office as it was, I don't know, like
Of course, procurement is a strategic department. They are controlling the spend of the company, so they need to have the right tools to have the right scenario, real time, to take the right decisions. Of course, the influence is growing because we need to understand how to spend better and of course how also to save money at the same time. And in a way, when we are approaching the processes at procurement through tools like your one, it is very, very important to implement new processes that can enable you to have the right data visible at the right time. So the influence is important, in my opinion, because they, I mean, are the department that are spending and saving at the same time. And also, this is something that has to be visible to the other department. They have to be connected to the other departments. So they are impacting on the risk management in the end and on the strategic decision making. I think that the board of directors and also the C-level need to think more about the role of the procurement and about the tools that the procurement need to implement, to use, to adopt, to be more efficient in the future. Because when they are working better, also the company is benefiting from this new way of working. But don't forget the connection of the department, because it's important, not fragmentation, but integration. And so this is this is a very important point in my personal opinion, in my personal experience. So centralization, integration at the same time, visibility of data, so real time if possible, or very, very, quickly visible. So we will discuss about this, and of course, this is something that can allow the governance being efficient.
totally agree. We will discuss gap visibility when we discuss article which you contributed. It's going to be very interesting. But before that, I would like to show results which Deloitte had. So let's go to results. Yeah, I think it's here. Remember when we had our poll, siloed ways of working or siloed data, siloed information was 47%, and here it is 57. So very close, very close. And I totally agree with results that Deloitte has about competing priorities, 46%. So me personally, I believe that if something can destroy a company from inside, this is competing priorities, competing KPIs. When one department cannot be successful without achieving them, and if those KPIs are contrary to what should achieve different department, for example, savings in financial department and results in the marketing department. So if marketing doesn't have right budget, they will not be able to be successful. And again, those KPIs all of them are important, but they have to be aligned. It is extremely, extremely important. So when I was voting for, in my poll, I was voting for competing priorities. Great. Let's move on. Thank you so much for sharing your vision. And let's move to next article. A next article. And I am absolutely happy to present it and highly recommend everyone for reading. And this is procurement challenges in Europe from tools to operational control. And what is great, we created this article with Barbara Mariotti and her colleague Luca. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us today. Customers' priority is always first priority. So I hope everything goes well with the customer, everything's fine. For us, customers always the best, but I really thankful to Luca for being a co-author of this article. So what I want to do, I want to change perspective a little bit. Before we were speaking more about processes, right? And Barbara, you highlighted how processes are important.
Yeah.
And right now, I would like to speak how tool can stabilize this workflow, how tool can be how how helpful can be tools with right integration, of course, for stable and sustainable workflow. And first thing I would like to discuss with you today, and I know this is your vision, this is something that you advocate for, is visibility gaps. So please, stage is yours. Um, Let me know why did you decide to
Yeah, because first, thank you very much for collaborating on this article because it was a good opportunity to share our experience and our point of view. So thank you very much. Luca Bernardini is not here, but he contributed as well to the drafting of this article. The point is that, in our opinion, that the main procurement challenges that mainly Italian, but of course we can think also about Europe, companies are facing are not caused by a lack of technology, but by a lack of operational connectivity. This means that although many companies, many organizations have already invested in ERP system or in e-procurement system and analytical tools, procurement, finance, and supply chain, as I said before, often operate in disconnected environment, limiting real-time visibility and slowing decision-making. This is a point. So, in our opinion, there's a gap in the visibility of the data. The data are to be centralized and are to be made available real time to all the departments so that all C levels can take the right decisions with the right quickness, we would say, because reaction is very, very important. So the time of reaction when we have the data available is a point. You are more effective if you can be if you can be quicker, we would say. So this is our point of view on this point. And of course, we also introduced the point that AI is not the only solution to fragmented operation. I mean, artificial intelligence delivers value, a big value, also with a very high speedness, we would say, because it's very, very quick, but only when it is supported by reliable, integrated, and governed data. We need governance. So we need we need to implement a governance that can enable all departments to coordinate their activities, that can have a centralization of the data, and that can have, I would say, one connected layer that can enable real-time spend visibility, standardized procurement governance, because you need to standardize the way you are evaluating your suppliers. End-to-end traceability, that's also a point that we need to understand how to manage. And of course, a continuous integration between procurement and finance planning, that there's also this need that is very important. Sometimes they are working alone without connection, and this is very this is a great issue, I would say. So basically, we try to share our point of view and to propose some solutions that can help companies to implement, I would say, a better way to organize everything, to centralize the processes, to centralize data reporting, to make the data more visible, and to guarantee a real-time visibility of everything. So the most important KPIs that can help to take better decisions. This is the point of view of course, of me and of myself and Luca Bernardini, that is not here, but we share the same ideas on that. So basically, it is important to integrate AI, of course, but you need to understand how to use it.
Mhm.
And you need to support it through the proper governance. So this means leadership, that board of directors and C-levels needs to be responsible for this governance and to take the responsibility of managing the processes and not only using and adopting the tools. The tools itself are not enough. This is what we think.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Taking decision without visibility is to take blind decision, right? And while you're managing
Exactly.
companies, you don't want to be blind. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
totally agree with you that digital platform should only support right strategy, right? Without right strategy, without right managerial decisions and vision, the best tool would just be useless. Totally agree with you. Let's speak about one more very important thing, and it is about margin. It is about margin. Right now, procurement teams, we already discussed with you that procurement teams become more and more strategic, more important. And first of all, because right now, procurement is not only purchasing goods for operations, but procurement is also seen as department which has to protect margins, correct? And
Absolutely.
it is important. So, your vision about it, go ahead.
It's very, I would say, summarizing this, we could say that procurement is evolving from a cost management function into a more strategic business orchestrator. What does it mean? It means that procurement as a function is responsible, needs to be responsible for profitability, resilience, innovation, sustainability, and business continuity, not simply supplier negotiations. This is what was before. Now we have to change because the scenario changes and the tools driven by the AI are available, can really help us. And so this elevates procurement to a board level capability, so to a different level, so a more strategic approach. What's the key conclusion, in my personal opinion? Organization should involve procurement at the beginning of strategic initiatives and not at the end, rather than the execution stage, because of course it is also an execution function, but it is not only an execution function. Allowing, it to influence a business value instead of merely controlling costs. As I told you, my personal opinion is that it's no more just a cost management function, but it is more a strategic department that can really drive also the decisions at board levels. But of course, it has to take the responsibility and it needs the right tools to do this. That's of course the need, no? So the basic. And then once again, I'm also really convinced that centralization means control. If you are centralizing all processes and all I would say, data. That means visibility of reporting available to every department. This means that you are able to have the control on what you are doing real time, and you are sharing what you are doing real time. So that's a point of organizational connection, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Totally agree. Totally agree. Margin, right? Usually, we're speaking about finances. Everyone pays a lot of attention to sales. We have to sell more, right? And it is true, we have to sell. In my career, I used to be a chief growth officer, so sales are crucial. It's like a fresh blood which is coming to a company. However, when economic situation is rather unstable, right, we have to pay a lot of attention to how we also spend money. So company-wide spend control,
yeah.
right vision, and right digital platform is extremely important. It's just inevitable, right, for company to succeed. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us in this article, creating this article. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
sharing
Has
your
been a
ideas.
pleasure.
Let me tell one more time that I highly recommend everyone to read this article. So it was created by two great experts in global industry, supply chain, procurement, fashion, manufacturing, and I find it very, very, very interesting. So let me recommend it one more time, and let's move forward to one more piece of content I want to discuss. And for me, it's important always to show the real case results, right? Like how decisions which you just discussed can change real business, can change real operations. And today I want to discuss one of our customers. This is major industrial group, and they have companies in different industries, in mining, machinery, logistics, infrastructure, and they came to us with a problem, and for you, Barbara, it will be very, very, very easy to understand. They had requests about procurement departments, because we are talking about group of company standardization. So it is difficult to work with procurement if you have one company and procurement doesn't have clear processes. And right now, just imagine that we have a group of companies, we have owners, we have investors, we have those who want to get their ROI. And if there is no standard workflow, standard criteria, how tenders are done, how suppliers are chosen, it's impossible to control investments. So let me speak about some key pain points. They had problem with tenders, purchase requests, suppliers communication. They had separate workflows. Right, this is something Barbara were already mentioned today. They had fragmented process, and it slowed down their decision making. They didn't have visibility, again, blind decision making. Leadership lacked a comprehensive and consistent view of procurement activities. And message I would like to bring to owners, to chief financial officers, that procurement is a separate department which has to be designed according to industry standards. And if you don't have this vision, in such case, it's better just to work with professional again, like Barbara, procurement consultants, consulting which APSentra can provide. Doesn't matter again, country or continent, right? But without it, you're just losing a lot of margin. And let's speak about um, some key benefits this company gained working with us. And if I'm speaking about key benefits, probably let's move a little bit forward. So if you're speaking about key benefits, key results, we are speaking both about consultation, and creating vision, creating workflow, creating methodology, very standardized methodology, and very stable digital solutions. So what did they get? Unified procurement function, unified, not fragmented, but unified right now. Standardized tendering, same decision making process. Transparent supplier selection, comprehensive reporting, and of course, team integration, something Barbara was speaking. I would say, like at least 30% of time, we were speaking about team integration.
Yeah,
Should be,
absolutely.
yeah. So, we still have, I would say, like 1 minute. If you would like to summarize and just give
Yeah,
5 minutes of advice, go ahead.
of course. So basically, what I could say about this case, this business case, that is very, very interesting. Also for the quickness of the implementation, because it was a 24-week rollout, so it is quite quick, connecting the existing ERP, so quite complex activities. But the project created in the end a single procurement operating model. That's the point, connecting requests, tenders, supplier management, approvals, and reporting across all business units, because this is a company with different business units. So basically, this was, I would say, an organizational transformation rather than a software implementation. We could say that, of course, when you have a vision and when you are realizing that you need for a change, you need to understand from what department to start. And of course, you have to understand what department is more impacting on your business. So procurement is, of course, one of these. And using this kind of tools, centralizing all data and driving all processes, sharing among departments, of course, can be a good solution to help you. That's it. That's what I think in the end. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your point of view. Always very, very interesting. And I hope that we can go on collaborating in the future, because it's a really very interesting collaboration for us. That's it.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, everyone who joined us and listened today our podcast. Please visit our website, follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube, and we will prepare more and more conversations with experts all over the world. Thank you so much, Barbara, again, and talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care. Thank you very much, Natalie.